Apart from the concept of dot product or inner product, we have also seen another kind of product for a vector space, namely the cross product. In order to define the so-called cross product, we are now going to introduce the so-called Levi-Civita symbol. So Levi-Civita symbol epsilon ijk is defined to be 0 if either I equal to j or j equal to k or k equal to I. In other words, if any two indices of the Levi-Civita symbol epsilon ijk are repeated, then it is 0. If all indices are distinct and in a cyclic order, that is epsilon 1, 2, 3 equal to epsilon 2, 3, 1 equal to epsilon 3, 1, 2, which is equal to plus 1, and it is defined such a way if the numbers 1, 2, 3 appears in a counterclockwise fashion, epsilon 3, 2, 1 equal to epsilon 2, 1, 3 equal to epsilon 1, 3, 2, which is equal to minus 1. In other words, by definition, Levi-Civita symbol epsilon ijk is defined to be a fully antisymmetric object. That is, if you exchange any two indices of epsilon ijk, you get a negative sign. For example, epsilon ijk is equal to minus of epsilon jik. Let us now introduce the concept of cross product. Let me emphasize this point. The cross product can be defined only in 3 dimensions. For a vector space V in 3 dimensions, cross product is a map which takes 2 vectors and gives a return vector. Unlike the inner product, where it takes 2 vectors, the resultant quantity is a scalar or a number. Cross product, it takes 2 vectors as an input, it gives you 1 vector as an output. So in other words, for a vector space B in 3 dimensions, cross product is a map from 2 copies of the vector space to the vector space B, such that for all ub belongs to the vector space V implies that W, which is the cross product between u and V, also belongs to the vector space B. And if u and v's are written in the component form in terms of a set of basis vector, as you see it here, then the cross product W can also be expressed in terms of the same set of basis vector, where the ith component of W can be written as epsilon ijk times ujvk summation over jk, as you see it here. Now, let us go through the properties of the cross product. The first property says that the ith component of the cross product between u and v, by definition, can be written as Levi-Civita symbol epsilon ijk times uj times pk summation over jk. Now we have mentioned that if I exchange any two indexes of the Levi-Civita symbol, one gets a minus in front of it. So I can change j and k to be kj, which gives us a minus, and I write vk in front of uj. And now by definition, summation over kj epsilon ikj times vk uj is the cross product between v cross u. And this is the ith component of the cross product between v cross u. So you can clearly see that this relation holds for arbitrary index I. So that means in 3 dimensions I could be taking value 1 in 1, 2, 3. Since it is true for any component I, then it is true for the whole vector. That is, u cross v is equal to minus v cross u. It follows directly from the definition. The second property, if we multiply the vector u by itself, then as you can see, it can be written as a u cross u ith component with a negative sign. So that means u cross u is same as minus u cross u, which implies that this cross product must be 0. Let us now consider an example where we use Levi-Civita symbol. Express the volume of a parallelepiped constructed using three vectors A, B and C using index notation. So as you see in the diagram, the volume of the parallelepiped constructed using these three vectors can be written as A dot B cross C, and you may have seen it earlier as well. Now we have seen the dot product can be expressed using index notation. So let us first write the dot product between A and B cross C. So by introducing Kronecker delta, we can express the outer dot product as delta ij times ai times the jth component of the cross product between B cross C. Now jth component of B cross C can be now expressed using the Lebesgue symbol as you see it here. Overall, we can express the volume as summation over I, j, m, n for the quantity delta ij times epsilon j m n times ai, bm and cn. Now we have seen the Kronecker delta is an object which is 0 if I is not equal to j. So in other words, I can carry out summation over j and only when it is non-zero when j equal to I. So that would mean that this summation can be reduced to I summation over I m n epsilon I m n times ai bm times cn. Now m and n are running indices. That means m just takes values between 1 to 3 and so as the n. So running indices can be replaced by any other indices. So here we replace m by j and n by k. So the volume of the parallelepiped then becomes epsilon ijk ai times bj times ck. Now let us consider an example using index notation so that the vectors A, which is equal to 2i cap plus 3j cap, and the vector B, which is equal to 6j cap, and the vector C, which is equal to I cap minus j cap, are coplanar. So as you see it here, we can express the components of the vectors A, B, C as you see it here. Now volume of the parallelepiped constructed using the vectors A, B and C we have already worked out earlier, which is given to be epsilon ijk ai bj ck summation over ijk. Now if you notice that only component which is non-zero for B is this B2. So B1 and B3 are automatically 0. So that means I can write the summation as epsilon I2k ai B2 ck. Now we know Lebesgue symbol epsilon ijk is non-zero only if all three indices are distinct. So in other words, I can have only non-zero terms from possibly epsilon 1 to 3 times a1 b2 c3 plus epsilon 3 to 1 times a3 b2 c1. But if you look carefully, c3 is 0 as well as a3 is 0. In other words, the volume is 0. In other words, these three vectors are coplanar. I hope you have enjoyed today's session. In case you have a question, comments or a suggestion, please feel free to write them below in the comment section. And if you would like to follow the physics discussion here, then you are welcome to subscribe to this channel.